Call the meeting to order. Regular appointments. Number 3, disclosure of conflict of interest. If there's none, if something comes up, you may clear it at that time. Approval of minutes of January 16th and the 30th, which is in your package.
I move the acceptance of those as circulated.
Second. All approved? Opposed? Delegations. You don't have any? No? Okay. Unfinished business. Provincial orientation sessions.
Yeah, these are the online training sessions, the schedule for the next, I guess, 3 weeks are in there.
Mhm.
And if you've missed any too, we've got the links on our SharePoint site too for the sessions that have already finished, so.
Leadership in time of change is February 8th. These are the ones from here that's left, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. B, UMNB orientation session. Okay.
This weekend, just wanted to confirm if anybody's got any news for us or updates or cancellations, let us know. We're gonna do the final confirmation on the hotels and stuff, but we've got them all booked. But the final registration's all done up, so we'll have the registration all looked after, so if you do just show up and pick up your kids that morning or when you get there.
So you just have mine for Saturday night?
That sounds good. And Sheldon, did you confirm Sunday?
Sunday,
Just
yeah.
Sunday, okay.
Can we pick those up right at the hotel or do we pick them up here at the?
No, right in the, there'll be a spot, I'm assuming, on the second floor, when you go in the crown, up on the right, they'll have the registration desk there.
Oh, okay.
7, correspondence. A. Local governance reform.
Yeah, there's a kid in there, but that correspondence just covers all the legislative changes that are land use planning that are being impacted. And all the different areas of the province is spending a lot of time with the municipal staff, just making sure we're aware of all the changes to the planning act and all the changes that are coming down the road, so. There'll be some issues there for councils to develop or to wrestle with going forward, especially as we do update land use plans, especially for the former LSD areas. And how they're going to be incorporated into municipal plans down the road. But in the meantime, in the short term, they're still under the same zoning or lack thereof zoning as they were before, so to speak. But that'll be something that this council, well, not just this council, all the councils are going to have to wrestle with and get their head around what they're going to do for zoning out there and things.
So I think we just took care of A and B.
Yeah, the next part of that is just the frequently asked questions. And I just put the first one in there. The province has been getting a lot of questions. So for anyone on council or the public that has any questions, a lot of them are already covered off in there about timeframes when we have to get our new plans in place and things like that. So the good thing is there's no big rush to do it, because I think they found that some municipalities, if they had a municipal plan, a lot of them were already outdated anyways. So now putting them back together, so they're giving municipalities a few more years, because one of the things the province is doing, I mentioned, they're doing that provincial statements of interest for planning, and they still haven't got those signed off on yet. So in theory, what's going to happen is the province will come up with these interest statements for the whole province, what they want to see for zoning and things like that, and then they want the regional service commissions to do regional plans, and then they would like the municipal plans to reflect both the provincial and regional plans. Now, a lot of municipalities have concerns about the region dictating zoning for municipalities. That was one of the contentious issues, because if for example, in a region, if the regional service commission or the board come up with a plan that says that in this part of the district will be just agriculture and this one IT or this one whatever potentially, then some municipalities may take offense to that as being pigeonholed into what type of development they can have in their community. So the hope is that the provincial statements and the regional statements will all be general motherhood statements, which will allow municipalities the flexibility to have some teeth in their own plan, but then, there's the argument on the other side of that is why bother having the provincial one and the regional one if there's no teeth to them? So there's pros and cons to either side of it.
So with section 4, when it says that the roads will have to be, any roads that are built out in those regions, even though it's in part of ours, that they will be required to be constructed to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure standards. So if somebody was building a small housing area there, they couldn't just use our local ones, they have to have it to the standards for the provincial DTI, then it would say to that.
Yeah,
which
if
means that
it's
they're
an existing road that's already been
No,
turned
but
over.
for the new one,
Yeah.
it has to be at that level, so it would be higher standard of requirement on the road than what would be required within the village, which,
No, we require the same standards for
Okay,
new
standard,
for new
okay.
subdivisions. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We didn't when we did. No, Bill.
We do now, yes.
We do now, okay,
Yeah.
it's, yeah,
7C, Minister Johnson, she sent everybody, we all have a nice congratulations certificate. Thank you.
Oh, that's what those are.
Yeah, no, it's really nice.
And Todd, I put yours up on the screen just because it was the first one I came to. They took a picture of yours.
7D, New Brunswick invites to share their input for 23-24 provincial budget.
Yeah, this one, the province is looking for feedback from residents, businesses, councils, anyone, any groups that would like to give the province feedback on how they should spend their money. They're looking for suggestions.
so we put that in the
Newsletter,
newsletter,
yeah.
so that people be aware of it.
7E, fire service meeting, February 21st, 2023, 7 o'clock at the Heartland Fire Department.
Yeah, let's, the province is hosting this meeting in Heartland, although we haven't been able to find out, don't believe Bethany, the actual fire service report. They want to have a meeting, they're inviting all the mayors, CAOs, councilors, and fire chiefs to this meeting in Heartland on the 21st of February. They'd like to know who from council would like to attend to go, just let me know, and so we can tell them how many people. Unfortunately, I was sort of hoping we might be able to get a copy of that report if it's actually done, or is this just a consultation to get feedback to what should go into that report? We're a bit unclear on the purpose of the meeting, so we'll try to get some more details on that, so we're not going in blind to it, so to speak. But I was involved with I was invited to a meeting before COVID on this report where they invited different administrators to just talk about fire services, but I haven't heard anything since on it, so I'm not sure if the report's done or if this is still part of the consultation. But in our area too, it's a bit different for us, where in our municipality, we basically have one fire department that covers an extremely large area, where, for example, Bristol Florenceville has 6 fire departments that they're all amalgamating, so they have some different issues than we do, of course. But so if anyone in council is interested, if you could let us know, they'd like us to confirm by the is there a date in there?
Is it something that would be of value to, that we would have an input in or value for us that we can?
I'll find out some
Okay.
more information on it,
Okay.
but we should have anyone.
I don't mind going, but I just want to know. if
Like to know what it's about.
Yeah, that's good. And we'll put feelers out then before the deadline by the 16th. We still get 10 days. Hopefully we'll be able to find out some more information on it. I'll maybe give Mike a call myself, the fire chief in Heartland, just to get some information.
Number 8. Oops. You all good? Number 8, municipal department reports.
Yeah, just so this in the stats, I highlighted 2 things in yellow this week. It seemed like all the other stats we had went the other way. Our solid waste collection was up 10%, our recycling was down 12%. our large bin recycling didn't even get dumped last month, so a lot of our stats were down this month. But on the upside, the Civic Center memberships are up, and our power consumption, which is good for our customers, was down 12% in January over the year before.
February is gonna make up.
And I want to make sure that they read the meter on February 1st for the, because our bill's sort of done on peak and demand. And the demand was the morning of February 1st, so I want to make sure that peak didn't get applied to our January bill, but yes, but yeah, February will probably make
Yeah,
up a chunk of that, especially this past weekend, but other than that, I'm missing a couple of stats that the staff weren't able to get me for this report, but we'll have it. And then the next page is just sort of the things that we're working on, reform right industries plan, municipal funding, orientation sessions, the rate hearings, rate design hearings coming up, starting to work on tender prep. I'm meeting with Philip tomorrow to go over some of the well stuff for our wells and the heuristic wells that they previously planned to do. And of course, as every meeting get a little closer to spring runoff, so we're starting to do some work on that. I saw a snow report, mind you, it's early yet, snow reports that we get, they sort of show in the northern part of the province, the snow content, water content at that particular date, and then they compare it to previous years and things. So it's a bit too early. That changes a lot during the winter, of course, depending on the temperatures and things. So if it's showing that it's slightly above average now for snow, it's not anything to get too alarmed about, but I believe what people tell me, there's not a lot of frost in the ground, so a lot of that water be going in. So
is there any difference with the jagged ice over this year that seem to be more?
yeah, no, it's from what they say is the jagged ice that we end up piled up, that after so long the river flowing underneath it, that the bottom will smooth out. Like it looks worse on the top than it does on the bottom.
the last time we had that, a lot of that jagged ice was white ice instead of the blue ice, which was kind of nice because the numbers were better when you get white ice.
You know, more wiggle
Yeah,
breaks that easy.
Yeah, and that happens every few years. We'll get that. So it'll be interesting to do if we get another snowstorm, if they'll start using the river for snowmobile crossings here pretty soon, I would imagine. But with that jagged ice all over everywhere, it's be a bit of a bumpy
I
ride.
don't think I'd want to try it.
still use the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of snowmobiles we find they're going by the office here. A lot of them now have the wheels on their skis. They just get out and pop the wheels down and just drive across the bridge and go wherever and pop them back up and
Yeah,
Ask the Wagner, he'll tell you it's safer to go on the bridge.
yes.
Number 9, bylaws.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, that's
Eight,
Philip didn't give me the update on fire report. That's an old one.
Okay. Okay, so number 10, motions and notices of motions. So 10A is our branding motion.
Yeah, it's included in your kit there, the full background for the motion there, just sort of the background from our meeting, I guess a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it, but the pros and cons of it. And included some of the background information about how council arrived at the branding that we discussed.
Can we do it? You ready? Okay. So, there's significant time and resources have recently been spent on the development of the current branding strategy. Counselor, any mover, right?
move.
Okay, moves that the municipality continues with the branding strategy developed by Outreach Production, second by Counselor. Okay, so the big question. All in favor?
Can we discuss?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
discussion,
No, it's good.
Warning. Kurt.
My only question is, in the motion, there's four different maybe publishers, can't tell the logos, so.
The logo is a separate motion.
Separate one?
Yeah.
Separate motion.
I do see that.
Yeah.
That was a quick discussion.
Sorry about that.
Now you can all in favor.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, cool. Motion carried.
When you look at these logos, there's places that you could use, like, there's times that you would want to use different logos, the same thing, but use them at different places. For example, the one with it centered, the tree centered over top of it, you can use it maybe as a letterhead, but if you're doing something else, you might want to have one of the ones where it just has it kind of over at the side or things. So I don't know, we're not gonna just, are we picking just one of them?
Well, it's up to council, look, I don't know if these where they're all very similar, like the wording is all the same, it's just the format of it's a bit different. And I think you're right, if we're putting this on a t-shirt, it might be different than the logo we would put at the top of a letterhead or.
You might put it at the side
Yeah,
of something
side,
else and you'd want to use this one, another.
Am I allowed to make a comment here? Just, I would not even vote on one in particular, just because of the way that I've been formatting my paper. Like, if you can move things around, what Sheila's been discussing is very pertinent, like, you're gonna find those various layouts are gonna suit different uses. Whether it's a t-shirt or a letterhead or in an ad, or just whatever. Like, because you've always got the little green, green or living thing, but the words are the same. Like differences.
Just a difference in the position where it is. Like, one is one though.
Get to discussion, I've ruined the entire process.
Well, they got the Robert's Rules of Order.
That's right.
Yes.
Sorry.
No. Good job, whoever did it. I like them all, particularly the one with the leaves on the eye.
Yes, I like the leaves on the eye.
Really good job.
Well, some of the council is happy with all of them.
Well, there we go.
I guess just approve the updated logos.
Right,
Okay,
right.
who's gonna be my mover?
I will.
Second, Char? So no discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Listen. Community survey.
Yeah, this one might be, sort of look at the ones that are in your kit. We basically, we talked about come up with sort of two versions of the survey. And they both be online surveys, you just sort of click on. The first one is sort of where we say, look, do you have suggestions on things we're doing well or could improve in protected services, fire, police, EMO? The next question's on rec, utility services, street sidewalks, tourism, administrative services, just sort of the general services we do. And then garbage recycling. And then we ask for questions specifically around that if you were on council, basically, what 3 to 5 things would you want to achieve in the next 3 years? And then we'd like to we don't want to know who people are filling out the survey, but it would be kind of nice to know where they're located. To give us a little bit of information to see if we can get a better feel for what people in different wards might like to see. And then the next page is sort of a more shorter version of that survey. It'd still be online, obviously, too, and we could circulate some of these. We talked about paper copies too, potentially. Where in this one, we basically the same entrance, but then we say, what 3 to 5 things would you like council to achieve within the next 3 years? Do you have any comments about what's currently being done well and improvements you'd like to see? So this one's a very, very brief, easy. If somebody wants to tell us something, we're the first one. If people want to expand in the different areas, whether it be policing, protection, recreation services, it may spur them to comment. The one thing about they don't have to fill out every section of the survey to submit it. There's no requirement for everybody to fill out all of them. If you only want to answer half the questions, then we'll just get half the response. The good thing about the Survey Monkey is that it automatically tabulates all the responses for us. So that's kind of cool in the end. So we can do a printout and everybody we can sort of see a summary of what people think about policing, we can see a summary of what people think about recreation or things like that, so. So it's either, council, we talked about, I guess, you talked about the pros and cons of shorter or longer, or maybe these, it should be somewhere in the middle, I don't know, so I'll throw that out.
This is going to help us in our planning session, so probably a bit more than what the little one has, but it could be a combination of the others, but
I think the drop down box will probably be,
Yeah.
like, get our most answers, because people are gonna see
Yep.
short answer and be like, nope.
yeah, if you just put, drop
But if
down,
you
yeah.
can, if they can click, they'll, you know, like, I think that would definitely be the. Get the most out of it, I guess.
So if you'd like the longer version, what we can do, we'll finish up the test run of it. And we'll send that out to everybody in council and give you a few days to feedback, see if there's any improvements you have for it, but after that, we'd make it live and get it out there. And the good thing about this, something I mentioned earlier, it'd be good for us. We got lots of time to get feedback on it. So 1st of February now. And we've got till, you know, we can go until the middle of April to get feedback. So we've got a good 10 weeks to get feedback in. So if we want to solicit through obviously through our own social media, but if we want to do something through the churches that Todd mentioned or different groups, there's an opportunity there for us to.
We have a Village Heuristic site too, I
Yeah.
can put it into that.
Yeah. So if someone wants to, it sounds like the longer versions.
No, good.
Sheila's gonna be my mover, so I need a seconder.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 11A, annual building permit reports.
Yeah, this is basically from the stats we've been keeping since, I think, 1991. And the tops the average, normally we average 18 building permits a year. Or sorry, 18 permits, 13 residential. The number of new dwelling units, 5. The number of new dwelling units sort of spiked. If you look down, in 2002, we had a bunch 2006 for new units. And so there was a lot more new homes being built in the 90s and the 2000s, of course, kind of slowed down. If you look from 2014 after the flood, it's been pretty slow. I was pleased this year to have 5 new dwelling units, then the commercial building permits institutional. So this year, the past year, our building permit value was approximately 3.7 million. Our average historically is 2.5 million. Of course, some of that's in older dollars, of course, it's not adjusted for inflation. So even though we didn't have that many permits, the value of them was up, and we had a number of new residents for people to live in, so that was nice.
13 is quite a year, isn't it? After the flood.
Yes,
Year, but yeah.
yeah.
Okay. B, acoustic water tower inspection report.
Yeah, I included that posted to it, and I finally got our copy of ours today digitally, and I'll put it in the SharePoint site for our next meeting. But this is just sort of a summary of the heuristic tower. The exterior recommendations, approximately 215,000 from that report.
Did you not get it?
It's only each year.
It's because of SharePoint. So 215 for the exterior coating, which you can sort of see, that's basically sandblasting it and cleaning it off and repainting it. The interior is interior. Okay, put the slides in the wrong order here, sorry. The interior is basically clean with sediment and redo the inside. This is similar to what we had done to our water tower. I believe 4 or 5 years ago, we had the whole tower inside and out done. And the total budget for the work from the report, so 604,000 for everything. I guess looking at their scope of work compared to ours, it's kind of different, and I think we'd want to get a second opinion on the type of work that needs to be done. Like say, for example, in this one, they're recommending to basically build a scaffolding all around that tank to redo it. We certainly did not do that with ours. And our tank would be probably, I wouldn't say 3 times the size, but it would be almost. Yeah, it's higher and bigger diameter. And our cost was, I think, a few years ago, $295. So I think that through proper tendering and things like this, we should be able to get that down, get the cost down. But as we talked about before, we still need to have a review done on the water utility there to see if there are any other areas that need work. And it would be nice to package that stuff all together in a grant application to try to get 2/3 funding to do that work, so it's not such a burden on the ratepayers there. So we'll do some more research, and I'll look into some more on the actual scope of work that they looked at and things. But for our grant application, I guess this would be a good starting point. So
I wonder what the cost would be for the total replacement.
yeah, once you get close to that, it'd be like I'd be guessing probably I'd say $1 million or something. Yeah. But
If you get to that, it's almost tempting.
Well, right, like if we're gonna pay that much, and if that structure's been there for 40.
this one, I think it was done in it seems to me this
When
one,
they painted it.
yeah, I think it's like 20, I want to say 29 years old.
It's not, yeah, like it wasn't there when my teenage years.
Yeah. So it's 10 years
It
old.
would've been.
Oh, is your name Smith?
Well, his name was not, he was picked by rear.
Yeah. Yeah,
No.
yeah, and there's a lot more requirements now too. If you look at the top of that, where the framing is around it and the ladder access, and the codes have changed on that. And the same for ours. We had to do our ladder access to it. We had to do repairs to that a few years ago. We did it, and I think even since then, the code has changed for something a bit different now. So, but I'll have our report for the next meeting also. So that's just for information.
11C, winter activity booklet. It's in our package.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for all the fun. I thought it was kind of a cool book that the rec department did up, and there's all kinds of little winter things, including the little mini snowman challenge. If you want to build a miniature snowman and send a picture of it into our Facebook page, we'll take a look at it. There's coloring opportunities and scavenger hunts and all kinds of things for.
They did a really good job on this. It's very well done.
Yeah.
All the same, like all the little activities, everything. I was quite impressed.
Yeah.
Okay. The Winterfest, February 23rd to 26th.
Yes, that's all set up. Just seen the staff been working hard on it. And we did receive some gracious financial support, I believe, from the province and federal government for this festival this year. So it's bigger and better, as they say. It's like the CFO, a bigger field, better product. So
It's nice to see the other groups like the Toby River Trading Company having something on in the evenings, and the Oak Tree, and then having like the Hullabaloo having something at the Legion. So there's activities for everyone those who don't want to be out frozen can be in other places and take part. And I like the idea of them having a tent for the market and things like that.
First Nations drummers are.
Yeah, different drummers. It's a good combination of good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, before we adjourn, Stephanie, is there any questions?
that was great. I'm glad that you went with all the logos because honestly, you shouldn't lock yourself into one. It's every formation has a use. And also this, the winter carnival, this looks wonderful. But I just, when I saw the wording here at the beginning of it is, why are we still calling this a COVID-19 winter?